Hey everyone, we just got finished recording with Adrian Accay and it was absolutely fantastic. Adrian, got sick a few years ago and he talks about how he turned his pain from that experience into purpose because he dug in so much to his health and learned so much about it. And he shared a lot of that with us today. So he founded a company called Apex Functional Health, and he really helps people focus on preventative health. And we talk a lot about the impact and the importance of your health, the health on your purpose, the health on your family, your energy. So you definitely want to hear more about that because I think you need to get clear on why you want to be healthy for you to be healthy. He talked about how he teaches his kids health and 4 levels of leadership, by the way, extremely successful business owner and entrepreneur that grew a business. So he's, applying leadership principles he learned from that with his family and around health. We talked about the 5 areas of health and the things to focus on. And then, how to deploy that, how to put habits in place, systems in place around your health so you can be healthier and have more of an impact because you have a higher level of energy. You feel better. So I think you'll be surprised by some of those, like breathing. We talk about breathing a lot. And honestly, it was just a great discussion. You're going to hear not only how knowledgeable and how much wisdom Adrian has around health, but also just his passion behind it. And it's so important to him because of the pain that he went through. Check it out. Hello and welcome to the Purpose Matrix. I'm very excited for today's guest, Dr. Adrian Accay. Adrian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you, Phil, for having me on. I'm super excited to chat with you and your audience.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You're looking good, man. Bring us back a little bit. Tell us your story. How did you become the person you are today, and what led you to doing what you're doing today?
Well, thanks again for having me on, and I appreciate that very kind and nice intro. It's thoughtful. So going back, I'm from Philadelphia, from South Philadelphia originally. And I grew up in a house where education was valued heavily. Both my parents are engineers, are electrical engineers. And it was all about, go to school, go to school, go to school. And so what happened was I ended up doing my undergrad in chemistry. And then I moved on and I had a PharmD, a doctor of pharmacy. And, when you're young, you don't really understand what purpose means, right? It's like, oh, I just need to go to school to make money. And what can make me the most money? What am I good at? What are the subjects you're good at in school? And it's always focused on either math or reading or science or something in that area. And fast forward, I started my own company in pharmacy because I realized I had a vision of how I wanted to practice pharmacy. And I was able to start my own. And then it grew into a pretty big business, big pharmacy, multiple locations, built teams. And I really had to lean into my leadership qualities, which I am the oldest of my brothers. So naturally, when you're the oldest child, you kind of already are a leader, right? Because your parents always like, take care of your brothers, or you have to look out for your family and this. So it's kind of always it was natural for me to kind of be in that position. And I did have to learn my managing style, right? How do I manage people? I can definitely inspire. I love to pour into people, and that was great. And so we built that with the systems and the processes, and it grew, and it's a beautiful thing. And that company's still around. And fast forward 2020, I got really sick. And, when you're studying allopathic medicine or conventional medicine, you understand treatment very, very well. But the one thing I did not understand was preventative health. And so when I got sick, I started doing a lot more reading on preventative health. Like, why did I get to this point? And not because I didn't want to get on medication. And I knew that was the outcome. And so I went back to school for functional medicine, and I learned a lot about root cause and what you do leads you to where you are. And I was able to kind of backtrack and really rebalance my body. And then what ended up happening is I stepped away from my business in Philadelphia, and I actually stepped away from being in Philadelphia, which was very hard because I spent my whole life there. I only knew Philadelphia. I never lived anywhere else. And I moved to Florida, and, I wanted warm weather. I wanted sunshine, and I wanted a new start. I wanted a fresh start. And I just naturally progressed into functional medicine because of how much I kept telling people what they should be doing to prevent other problems from happening. And it also dawned on me when I got really sick, which is, leads into my purpose, is my children were really young. They were at the time 3 and 5, turning 6. And I was like, at first they told me I had a viral infection. Then they told me it was autoimmune. And then they hit me with the C word. They said, oh, it's potentially cancer and we have to figure out where. At this time, COVID was going on. So hospitals were all shut down. So I kind of lived in this kind of 3 month of not knowing what was going on. And I realized, man, I've been hard charging my whole life. And I have these beautiful kids who need their dad. And I'll tell you, it really was a pivotal point in my life, because I realized that my true purpose wasn't building pharmacies, wasn't making money, wasn't buying a house. It was, I wanted to be with my children. And I made a very conscious effort that no matter what happens, if I heal, when I heal, I'm going to spend my time with my kids, and that's going to always be my number one priority. And that's still on the forefront of my life.
I love that. And so I want to ask a question, because you, when you started having, when you were sick, you started, a lot of growth comes from pain a lot of times. And for you're very knowledgeable about, I'll say, medicine and treatments, as you said, but you didn't really understand all the preventative stuff, and you really dug into that and the root cause of things. But it came from pain.
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are, from a health perspective right now, they're fine? Like, they just, the mindset is, you know what? I don't have any issues right now. I'm fine right now. I don't have the pain that you had. So I'm just going to keep living from a health perspective the way I have been.
Yeah, that's a great question, Phil. So, man, I'll tell you, and you're absolutely right. So when I was in that situation and I was having that pain, every time I would have a symptom, I knew exactly what medication would help that symptom. But I also knew that I was just a Band-Aid approach. And it was, any medication you take has a side effect. There is no such thing as a medication without a side effect. And over time, you'll notice they'll start with one and then end up on 2 or 3. And then somewhere down in the future, 10, 20 years, they're on 10 medications. And sometimes the medications are being used to block some of the side effects from other medications. And I knew that was not what I wanted. So the one thing I would say to people is, you think you're healthy until you're not. There are biological things happening in your body that you may have no idea about. And it could be something as simple as man, when I eat this food, I get tired. How many people have experienced that? Or after lunch, I get tired. Or when I eat this food, I get bloated. Or I develop this rash on my arm, but it goes away on its own. Your body is constantly having a conversation with you. It's talking to you all the time. And if you're not listening, what's going to end up happening is at some point, something is going to be too big for you not to listen. And that's going to either drive you to the doctor's office, the hospital, or worse, you're going to get a terminal diagnosis, or you might just die. Some people just have heart attacks and just pass away. And so if you don't start listening, I kind of explain it like your body's like an empty cup when you're born. And over time, it starts to fill up with water. And it could be because of mineral imbalances, toxicities in the environment, poor food choices, too much sugar. So many things are going on, right? And so this cup eventually fills up. Now, as it fills up, if you were to go do blood labs, when you go to allopathic medicine, they look at it in green and red. And green is good, red is bad. They never look at the yellow. The yellow is where you're falling out of optimization. This is as your cup is filling up with water or problems, your body is going to respond. So these blood tests will show, hey, this is veering off. A perfect example is blood sugar. Typical ranges are between 70 to 100. But if you're over 85, your body's telling you something. Hey, you got to pay attention. Your glucose levels on a fasted state should be lower than 85. So that's just one marker, and there's 100 of them that go that way. So I would say, see a functional medicine practitioner, do functional medicine testing, have them look at it from a functional medicine standpoint. and avoid functional medicine prescribers and look at holistic ways of treating. Nothing against prescribing, but it shouldn't be first line. It should come after everything else has failed when it comes to the functional medicine side.
Thank you for that. And I think, for our listeners, and if you're thinking about, okay, I'm healthy right now, everything's okay. Things are happening. So, Adrian just explained it. Things are happening. And I think I like the word around, you talk about purpose. And, I don't know if you use this word, but aligning our purposes. So your purpose is your kids. You talked about that, but your health purpose, I'll put these words in your mouth. You're focused on your health because it supports your purpose around your kids. And a lot of times I think we need to have, the biggest purposes we can have is not around ourselves, it's around others. And if you can make your health purpose, like my health purpose is to have energy for my kids and my grandkids and to live my purpose. To the extent I can control it, whatever I can do, I'm going to do what I can from a health perspective so I have the energy now and in the future. I can't control everything, but
Correct.
Within my control, I want to do that the best I can. And I'm not perfect at all. I have a lot of gaps, but nonetheless, your purpose for your health is around your kids. So before I want to get into the health thing a little bit more because it's so important. So if you're a business leader, if you're a business owner, if you're leading a family, a team, anything, your energy levels, your health, it's going to impact your performance. It's going to impact how good of a leader you are. Adrian was a great leader in his company. That's how he built it to so much success. Your health is impacting all of that. And there's a lot of different elements that we'll get into, but you're very intentional with your kids. So I'm going to go there for a little bit. So you're healthy for the sake of your kids. Talk to me about your approach to parenting, what you're doing with your kids. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So great question. So absolutely. My kids are number one. Like if I were to put purpose, it's right at number one. There's nothing more important to me. And it started with moving to Florida and spending time with them. And then we actually moved into, as I learned more about health, you start to see certain trends, right? What they give kids in school, food, constant like birthday parties or events, and they're giving them, and you're telling your kids like, the first thing I realized is sugar, how it's in almost every single thing. I think Joe Rogan even talks about it. It was in like garlic salt, which is ridiculous, right? But it's in everything, added sugar. And it's specifically there to get you addicted to their product, right? Because without it, it doesn't taste as good. You've gotten, your taste buds are used to this sweetness. And so I started talking to my kids about, hey, I don't want you guys to eat a lot like this processed sugar. It's not good for you. There's all these things are happening in your body. It can cause, there's a ripple effect that happens in your body, right? Whether it's decreased testosterone, elevated estrogen, or early puberty, or early onset diabetes, or all these other problems that can occur. So, and when I realized that I couldn't control that environment, and I would educate my kids, it was all about education. Fast forward, we started homeschooling. And I will tell you, everything I learn about health, I pass on to my kids to learn about health. Why I do it. There is nothing in my home about don't do this because I said so. It's, hey, here's what red dye does to you. Okay, let's look at the source and let's look at why it's used. And, and the more educated I got, or I became, the more educated they became. And then it became to the point where it's like, we talk about purpose. Would you give your child a cigarette? No, because cigarettes are bad, right? But so is sugar. Added sugar is so bad. So why is that okay? And it really goes back to societal norms. Because if you were to go back 50 years, a cigarette wasn't that bad. It was okay. And you might give a kid a cigarette, go ahead, smoke a cigarette, not a big deal.
They got the candy. Now, we're always giving out the candy cigarettes.
You remember
that? It's all sugar. I see them every once in a while still.
Yeah.
They have the red, I'm like, are we really? We're still doing this. We're still, it's all sugar, and it's saying, hey, smoke when you're older. Anyway, I digress. But so your parenting approach, so from a health perspective, you're not telling them what they can and can't do. And maybe you are, you just won't have stuff in your house, but you're teaching them, you're educating them. But does that go beyond health from just a parenting style? So like, I mean, even jujitsu and, all the things you learned from that. Tell me more about how just your general approach to parenting.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm very big on Tony Robbins talks about the 4 leadership types, right? And leadership 1 is you tell someone to do something, they do it. You tell then that's part 1. Part 2, but when you turn your back, they go back to their old ways. Style 2 is you tell them what to do, they do it. And then when you turn your back, they don't do it. Okay. Most people fall into level 1 and 2. I'm very conscious about level 3 and 4, which is I teach you this. Level 3 is not only do I not do it when you're around, I don't do it when you're not around, but I also teach others around me not to do it because I don't want them being harmed. And then level 4, it becomes your purpose in life, right? The people, the Gandhis and the Martin Luther Kings and the people, the Charlie Kirks, the people who want to go out there and spread that their word. And so I teach my kids, so jujitsu, no sugar, no alcohol. We protect ourselves. Our body's our temple. We help other people, right? Becoming a level 3 leader is I want to pass this on. But that goes into everything. The health is a huge part of jujitsu. And so my kids have been doing jujitsu since they were 3. And they love it and they live this way. And it's now to a point that, for instance, if my kids, I'll give you a perfect example. My son's 9 and he has a friend in our neighborhood who constantly used to drink Gatorade. Okay. The kid was about 20 pounds overweight. And my son would go up to him, and mind you, this kid's a little older than my son. He's about 2 or 3 years older than my son. And my son was like, dude, you shouldn't drink Gatorade. Look at the nutrition facts. It's full of sugar. It's just there to get you addicted to it. And he was like, you should switch it to water, right? And this. And so he challenged him. The kid did it. Kid dropped 20 pounds in about 3 months just by cutting out Gatorade. And so like when my son saw that, he was like, Dad, I want to tell everyone to eat healthy. Like he goes to birthday parties. He's not tempted to eat cake. He's just like, nah, I don't want to put that.
But he's doing that. He's doing that because he wants to, or he sees the purpose and intention behind it. I mean,
it started off as level 1. Hey, Bob, I don't want you to do that. Okay. It's not good. Level 2 is here. I educate. Now he doesn't do it when I'm not around. Now he's at the point where he's a level 3, where he feels like he's compelled to tell people that he cares about, you shouldn't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And so that's always my goal with my kids, is to get them to that level 3 where they can educate the people around them. They know it so well and they want to help others. And so by that, I feel like my purpose, and it started off with myself and then it moved into my kids, and seeing them now do that and teach other people about health is so satisfying. It's like the best thing in the world.
Yeah. By the way, it's interesting because we've been focusing more on our health in our house the last couple of years for sure. And our daughter will convey that she's like resisting it or we're extreme or whatever it is, right? But then she's going to volleyball and she's telling her teammates, like, you're really going to drink this sugar drink before, like, you are going to crash for like an all day. And she's, and we're just sitting back, like, we're not telling her good job. We didn't know, right? We're like, so she won't listen to this. We don't even let her know that we hear her telling whoever on the team, like, you were going to crash. Like, that's what, all that she's teaching them. And we're like, hey, honey, we don't even know that, right? Because she's 14 and she does not want to hear from us. So just wait, Adrian, you're close to that. The other thing is, I think there's opportunities. So like one of the coolest health changes, honestly, that we've had in the last couple of years is 5 years ago, we just, breakfast was cereal and it was the garbage. Maybe 3 years ago, it was better cereal, right? And then I think it was the beginning of last year at school. So it's only been a year. And our son, they just, they changed from eating lunch at 11 a.m. to 11:45 or whatever it is at school. And he's like, Mom and Dad, I'm just so hungry at school every day. So we're like, hey, so we just started making eggs So we have eggs or like a smoothie in the morning, like a healthy smoothie. That's all we have. We don't even buy cereal anymore. But they don't question it. Like it's normal. Like you talked about societal norms. It's normal now. And my wife, who's a saint, she spends time like putting everything together every morning. But maybe I'll use that to transition to what are some just blatantly obvious things to you that anyone can implement. And before we go there, like it's so important. Like you have to make this a priority. You have to understand how important your health is to every other area of life. If you don't understand that, you're not going to prioritize it. And you got to make it bigger than just yourself and what you look like. And like it has to be in support of others. In my opinion, your health purpose has to be in alignment with your other purposes or in support of others. So let's say we're there and okay, we want to make some changes. We want to make 2, 3, 5 changes, whatever they might be. Like what are some of the biggest things you see that people are they just don't understand or they're not doing that they can improve their health?
That's a great question. This is really easy to answer, okay? And if you do these things, it's going to make a huge change in your life. And I'm going to hit you with each part. So number 1, sleep. You need enough sleep. Children need to get about 10 hours. Adults, 7 to 9. Consistent bedtime, very important so that they get the right deep sleep, the right REM sleep. They're waking up refreshed. Their growth hormones are elevated, and that your testosterone is elevated for adults. Everything is in line hormonal sleep. Your NK cells, natural killer cells, so you're clearing out all the bad stuff. Your immune system's top notch. You're less likely to get sick. Next.
Hold on. So can I jump in?
Yeah.
So 2 things. First, 9 hours. I don't have time for 9 hours of sleep. I'm just going to be devil's advocate. And second, the bedtime consistency, is that like within 10 minutes? Is that within an hour? Like elaborate on those 2 things a little bit.
Within 30 minutes is good. And I would say 9 hours is hard for a lot of people. But if we're talking 8 should be your minimum. That you have to close out 8 hours. I need to be sleeping. So for me, it was hard, right? Because my wife's a night owl and I'm more of a morning person. But I find myself like I start reading at around 9 p.m. By 9:30, I'm doing my bedtime routine, like, meditating, and I'm out by about 9:45, and I wake up around 6 to 6:30 every day. So I get now, when you look at it from like a Oura ring, there are times you wake up in the middle of the night, which is natural. So it'll calculate, hey, 8 hours in bed, 7 hours of sleep or 7.5 hours of sleep, and it'll calculate your
Do you recommend an Oura ring or something like that, by the way?
I do if you're really trying to track. Beautiful. Yeah, you should track it. Like, don't let it get you down. Do something about it.
Yep.
So sleep is number 1. Number 2 is hydration. A lot of people, this is such an easy thing. They don't hydrate enough. Typically, you want half your body weight in ounces. So you wake up in the morning, get at least 8 to 12 ounces. If not, if you could do more, great. Lemon water, pinch of sea salt, get hydrated in the morning. There you go. Got the water.
You got to watch on YouTube. I'm drinking water. I'm playing the part. Everything he says, I'm trying to practice live here. So half your body weight in ounces in water, and not garbage, not like Gatorade isn't. I mean, maybe there's hydration elements of it, but it has to be water.
Just water. Make sure it's water. So hydration is 2. Number 3 is movement. Wake up, go for a walk. Drink your water, go for a walk. After you eat, walk for 15 minutes. Most people don't realize just by walking, you're going to reduce your glucose spikes and your body is going to use up that energy immediately. And it's amazing because it's going to give you so much energy. It's going to help you digest. Your body's going to utilize the nutrients that you just put into your body. So we covered sleep, hydration, movement. Here's the biggest thing that I would say, breathing. This is so underrated. 3 to 5 breaths, a couple times a day. Inhale, 3 to 4 seconds. Hold, exhale, 4 to 5 seconds, a little bit longer. Helps bring down your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Doing it a couple times a day will also elevate your HRV, your heart rate variability, which is basically an indicator between your parasympathetic, your stress hormones, and your non-stress. And then I would say the last thing, so that's number 4. And then the last thing, number 5, is there's so many ways you can go with nutrition, okay? But if I were to pick the top 2 things you could do with nutrition, it would be don't overconsume when you eat. Most people just fill up this plate. It's like a buffet every night, right? I got to eat till I'm full. And this is going to be the hardest one for people. That's why I saved it to last. Don't bring junk food into your house. I'm not going to tell you not to eat junk food. Don't bring it into your house so you're not tempted to eat it.
Right.
And the reason why I say that's the hardest thing is you tell your kids you don't want them to eat cakes and snacks and donuts and cookies and chips and all this junk that's ultra processed, but you can't do it yourself. And most people,
if it's there, I can't. If it's there, this is sad. I don't have the discipline to not try it. And then I'll just take a little bit, and then I'll just take a little bit more, right? If it can't be there. And
it's not just you, it's everyone, right? Instinctually, we are addicted to sugar, to that junk, and it's purposely made that way. So you're addicted to it. That's why I say, don't bring it into your house, because if it's not in your house, you're not going to feel tempted.
I enjoy this. For our listeners, I like to bring someone on that's really talk about the health topic every 6 to 9 months or so, just to remind us of the importance of it. And again, I want to emphasize, first of all, get to know why you want to be healthy and what that's about. If that's disease prevention, if that's just energy for whoever, those that you love, or your purpose, your work, whatever it is, like, get clear. In my opinion, you should have a written down health purpose that supports whatever your bigger purpose is. And we talk about that. But I think you should have that. I think you should think about that and just write some things down and then start and then iterate that over time if you need to. Adrian, I want to, so Apex Health, right? Tell us more about what you're doing and really the bigger mission of what you're trying to do with Apex Health.
Yeah. So Apex Functional Health, we started it about 2 years ago. And really, it kind of came about because I was kind of inadvertently helping people all the time with preventative health. And people constantly ask me like, hey, what can I do to improve myself? What can I do to this? What should I be eating? What's this? And so I realized I was putting about 20 to 30 hours a week just talking to people. And I got challenged in GoBundance. They were like, dude, you got to turn this into something. I'm like, no, I'm the real estate guy. I invest in real estate because that's something I love doing as well. And they were like, dude, you're not a real estate guy. You're definitely a health guy. And so we started Apex with a goal of preventative health. It was like, hey, we want to get you doing all the right things so that you don't have to you don't have to get on medication, or you don't have to get sick or go through disease states if you're doing all of these things. Now, is there a chance that you might develop a disease, or you might need? Of course, but it's not at the rate that it's going now. Like, if you do all the right things, you're probably going to live a pretty healthy life for a really long time. And so that's what started it, is root cause health, preventative health. And we just signed up with a telehealth medicine company, so we can do peptides and we can do HRT or GLPs. And I would say that's more so, I call that like my level 3, right? So your level 1 is like your lifestyle modifications. Your level 2 is like supplements. And then level 3 is like, okay, we need some peptides, or we need some GLP-1s or HR hormone replacement therapy because of, these other 2 aren't working, or we're going to amplify or really grow it into that direction using the first 2 modalities and then adding the third. And so it's been amazing, with how many people we've been able to help and grow. And I'm so passionate about it. Like, there is no such thing as you come work with us that we won't get you to your goal. Like, it's on me. Like, we're going to make sure. And we have a solid team, and that's it. I'm living. And I want to say this, going back to purpose. And I know that the name of this podcast is The Purpose Matrix. And so I'm very, very big on anything I do in my life. I'm adding positivity into people's lives. I teach my kids that, like, pick a profession, pick something you're going to do in life that you're going to be proud to tell people you do it. Don't do something that makes you money, but you're harming others. Do something that you can put your head up high and feel proud. And when I tell my kids what I do, I am extremely proud. And they're proud that I do these things. And they know that I would never, ever, ever pursue anything in life that doesn't align with helping others or helping my family.
Yeah. And actually, I just had a discussion with someone else, and they talked about kind of two elements of a purpose statement. A is, okay, kind of what you're like, what are you going to do? What are you passionate about is the first part of a purpose statement, along with, okay, who are you going to serve? How are you going to help others with what you're passionate about? Those are kind of the two key elements of a purpose statement. You're doing it, man. You're living it. I appreciate it. You can hear your passion come out during this discussion and your knowledge too. I have 4 other questions I wrote down. Like I want to learn all about HRV and all but I'm tracking that, by the way, now. So look into HRV. I want to ask you your opinion on, is it acetaminophen or aspirin that's been in the news? I don't know if I want to put you on the spot, but what did Trump say? President Trump said something about.
I don't watch news, so tell me what.
Good job. Yeah. So anyway, we won't go there. I'll leave you off the hook.
I know a lot about acetaminophen, so obviously that's my background is pharmacy. Well, what's going on?
I think he just said it's going to. It's. I don't watch the news very much either. I just saw a headline, but it's like it's very bad for you, is what he came out and said it. So
acetaminophen is metabolized in the liver. There's a couple of things that, listen, there is no such thing as bad medicine or good medicine. It's medicine. And if it's used correctly, it's great, right? Think about like I remember the first day of pharmacy school, the dean comes in and says, I just want you guys to know medicine is poison. Okay. Don't ever forget it. There's no such thing as a medication without a side effect. And it really stuck to me. Tylenol, can you imagine if your child has 104, 105 fever and is about to die? They're gonna have a seizure. They could potentially have brain damage. Acetaminophen, Tylenol, under the brand name, could save their life. It could bring that fever down. It could prevent them from having brain damage. It's extremely important. But let's take the flip side. You take Tylenol all the time. It's metabolized in the liver, elevates liver enzymes, and could cause liver toxicity. And imagine if you drink alcohol with it. Oh my God. You're really asking for it. You could potentially die, right? So yeah, it can be horrible. So when used correctly, medication is great. When used incorrectly and abused, it could be a very, very big problem.
Very well said. I'm glad I put you on the spot there, and good job not watching the news too. And shame on me for watching it. But Adrian, the fact that you're working 20, 30 hours a week without having a business around this shows your passion. You're purposeful around this. If you step back and reflect on what you're doing, what you're building, the impact you're having, how does what you do, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel great. The other thing that it makes me feel is like I don't know enough. Like every single day I block off about 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night just for learning time. And whether it's courses on different functional medicine or I'm reading different books, and there's some amazing people in this space and things that you discover when you start going down this rabbit hole. And the more I read and the more I learn, the more I feel like I don't know. Like I can't remember all this stuff. There's too much to remember. There's so much. And it makes me want to do it even more because I love learning this stuff. I'm like so hungry for this knowledge. So I love that I'm able to pour into people. And I just want people to know that I am constantly on it, like learning and trying to get better so that I could serve better, so I could teach my family, so I could teach my friends and the people around me.
I love it. And I love it. Adrian has his core values in the background if you're on YouTube or anything. And one of them is humility too. You can hear it. Like he's humble. He knows his stuff, as you can hear, but he's also saying, there's so much I don't know and I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to get better. So I appreciate that. Adrian, this has been fun. This has just been so much good information. How can people find out more about you and what you're doing? Where do you want to direct them?
Yeah, just go to my website, apexfunctionalhealth.com, and you can order labs. You can order, we have supplements on there that we recommend, or you can book a call, get on a call with one of my teammates, and you could get this, we'll talk about your health journey and what we can do to kind of help you get better and get optimized. And even if you're extremely sick and you want to know how you can turn your life around and some of the things that you can do to improve, definitely hit us up. That is where we shine.
And we can do this remotely, Adrian?
Oh, it's all remote.
Awesome. Adrian, again, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Appreciate all the wisdom you shared. It's hard to imagine what you're going to learn, or the fact that you can learn more because you know so much. So I appreciate so much. For the Purpose Matrix, signing off.